We are happy to be joined by Jay Bilas, joining us from a hotel room in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He's got Carolina, Kansas tonight. And Taylor said to me right before, my executive producer here, Jay, said to me right before we went on air, he said, hey, Bilas, he's in Chapel Hill. I said, for what? He said, Carolina, Kansas. That's college basketball. Do you agree with that, Jay Bilas?
I actually do.
Damn!
I mean, North Carolina and Kansas are like two of the four winningest programs in basketball history. And the crossover between the two places, like I was laughing about this yesterday. So Hubert Davis, the coach at Carolina right now, played for Dean Smith. Dean Smith played at Kansas for Fog Allen. And Fog Allen played for Dr. James Naismith.
Wow.
I mean, that's better than 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon right there.
Yeah, it really What's is. That, just 3 degrees to James Naismith? That's
pretty good. I'd have to go a little bit further.
Right. Wait, so you were discussing this with someone? You were thinking about
Dan
this?
Schulman and I were talking about it yesterday at practice. We were looking at this going, Larry Brown played at North Carolina and was coach at Kansas. Roy Williams was assistant at Carolina, went there, coach at Kansas. Dean Smith played at Kansas on a national championship team in 1952, coach at North Carolina. I mean, the crossover between the two places is kind of amazing. And then you get all the way back. Like Kansas has had 8 head coaches in their 100-year history or whatever it is.
Right.
And the only losing coach they had was Dr. Naismith, who invented the damn game.
Wow, what a loser.
Total loser.
Inventing the game trumps his coaching record, though, right? So
Exactly. You can always say, hey, like, who do you think you are, Naismith? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm better than that guy. Stu, I know the audience isn't really privy to this, but I have to ask, why on your screen, Jay, does it say Digger Phelps? Did you long ago steal his laptop, maybe his Zoom login?
Oh, is that still on there? It was probably from an old game day meeting when we would log on, and I just put Digger's name in there just to piss him off.
Jay, how does Carolina match up with this Kansas team? Because I don't know too much about Kansas early, except for the fact that they have the number 1 player in the high school recruiting class. Yeah,
I think Carolina matches up really well. Like the one thing about North Carolina, as opposed to last year, their guards were really small last year. Of course, they had R.J. Davis, but like Elliot Cadeau is small. They got positional size this year. All their guards are 6'5" or so. And then they've got Caleb Wilson, who, while not the number 1 player last year, he was top 6 or 7, something like that. And they played 2 exhibitions, one against BYU, and then they played their first game against Central Arkansas. He's had over 20 points in every game. I mean, he's been incredibly consistent at a high level. He's really, really talented. So they'll be very competitive. I think Carolina's going to be much better than they were last year. At least they have a chance to be. And they were good last year, but not great. And I think they've got a chance to be really good this year. And then Kansas, they're going to be better too. But it's funny, like Kansas has picked 6th in the league. All these rankings, I think, are partly based upon the preseason stuff, based upon how they did last year.
Right.
And Kansas didn't play well last year, and so now everybody's down. I mean, they've won the league like 100 years in a row, and they have one down year, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's over. It's over for Bill Self. He needs to find out something else to do." So stupid.
Wait, but you did a 68 team index, didn't you? I mean.
Yeah, and I'm never wrong. So what could be wrong about doing it with the transfer portal and trying to figure everything out in November? I mean, but what's funny about that though, like 68 is ridiculous. But when you do a preseason top 25,
right,
and then there are all these ups and downs of the season. When you get to the end, it's remarkable how much closer your initial rankings are than you would think.
Yes.
That surprises me that it happens that way more often than not.
It was Ohio State, Texas in college football. They played week 1. Now Texas is creeping back into it, but you're right. It takes a minute, but usually those things are fairly accurate, right?
Sometimes you're wrong, but they're done for interest. If we knew, I mean, with all the stuff,
you wouldn't be telling me.
Yeah, but I hesitate because of all the gambling nonsense going on right now, but. But when our employer, yours, whatever, ask you to pick games, like who's going to win the Super Bowl, Like if we knew who's going to win, we'd just go to Vegas and be
So
sitting by the pool raking it in. Like we think we know, but we don't know.
Who's going to win the national championship, Jay?
I think Houston's going to win this year. Bank on it. Never wrong.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I started reading the Bilas Index, and I got to number 26, and I was like, oh, wow, there's still more. And then it was 68 teams, and I was like, wow, how long did that take you, Jay? That feels like it must have taken like multiple weeks, like not just a couple of days.
I mean, I have help now. I used to do it all myself, so I do have help with some of the capsules, but over the years, like it started out as kind of a rip on the RPI, which I used to think was kind of ridiculous. And so I created this ridiculous persona that had the all-knowing illustrator. And it's you do the best you can. But what you find is that most people aren't like you guys. They don't read the whole thing or even consider reading the whole thing. They look for their team and then they get pissed off about where their team is ranked.
Yes.
And so much of what we seem to do now is what's going to piss everybody off. And I've become really good at that. I'm very proud.
One of the best. Yes.
North Carolina at 28, Auburn at 27. I just fundamentally disagree with.
Well, when Auburn was taken overtime by Bethune-Cookman, I was disagreeing too. But it's a long haul thing. We're going to look back on this. Like last year when I predicted the tournament and I predicted all 4 number 1 seeds to make the Final Four and then Houston and Florida to be in the final, I got roasted on Selection Sunday. And I didn't respond. I'm like, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm right. And then when I was right, I went out and told everybody, that I always tell Reese Davis, I don't like saying I told you so. I love it.
Well, Jay, I'm going to prove to you that I read some of the Bilas Index. At number 1, you had Purdue. No, I got farther than that. I'm kidding.
I want to know who 27 was.
Purdue is like the weird, rare team,
yeah.
at least these days, that has like a narrative to it. It's just like, oh, we've been trying to get over this hump with this group. Oh, maybe shift the group a little bit, change the way we play a little bit. But I'm just curious what makes this year the year for Purdue and why is, I guess, Braden Smith so fun to watch?
Yeah, you mentioned it. They got the best point guard in the country, and I don't think it's a hard decision. There are other great ones, but he's the best one. And he's just got an ability level and a toughness level that you don't see very often. But Purdue's kind of the anti-current portal team. They do use the portal a bit, but they're kind of like, look, this is the way we do it. Yeah. We're not out trying to get 5-star guys that are only going to be here for a year. This is who we are. If you're not willing to fit in here, we wish you the best. But we're not going to change for you. We're asking you to change for us, and we think you're going to get something really good out of it. And Matt Painter's been there. I mean, it's crazy. He's been there 20 years now.
Wow.
And I played on the U.S. National Select Team for his coach, Gene Cady, back in 1985. And like Purdue hasn't changed its value system or its culture in all those years. Like Matt's different from Coach Cady, who was like a central casting kind of coach. I'm sorry to take you off on this tangent, but during that national team experience, that U.S. Select Team, when we had our first team meeting, Coach Cady had our team goal. He had all the rooming assignments, practice times on this whiteboard or blackboard, whatever it was, in the hotel. And then up in the upper right-hand corner, it had the team goals. And number 1 was win a gold medal. And number 2 was fight communism. And I'm like, this is bigger than I thought.
How? Were there instructions?
Guard play, and the Politburo is going to say, look, we can't do this anymore. We got to go straight to capitalism. Like their guard play is just too good. And then, people laugh. 5 years later, the wall came down. So
wow.
You're welcome.
You guys did it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Gene Cady was an intimidating motherfucker, man. He really was. Yes?
Yeah. That was the first timed water break I'd ever had. We had timed water breaks. And he was awesome. Like he came across as really gruff, but he was a big sweetheart. And ever since then, like he's been an ally to all of us. And although he didn't know, he couldn't pronounce our names. Like he told us in the first team meeting, like he was instrumental in handpicking the team because it was a U.S. select team. And he said, my wife and I have a satellite dish, and I watch all you guys play, and I've scouted all of you. And I was on the team, and then Tommy Amaker, one of my college teammates, was on the team, and so he went through some of the players, and then he goes, Bilas, A-maker. And I go, apparently he watched all those games with the sound off. He couldn't pronounce our names.
Jay Bilas with us here. Stugotz Company. How did the second best player, the second biggest recruit in the country, wind up at BYU? When does BYU get that kind of player?
Well, I mean, the first answer is going to be money because BYU's made a financial commitment. So people are automatically going to go, oh, they're just buying a team. Like that wasn't happening before NIL came in, and the high resource schools weren't building these lavish facilities and flying private and providing an environment for players to come into. It's really the same thing. But the other part is they hired Kevin Young from the NBA. And so it's kind of a pro style offense and all that. So it's become a much more attractive place to play. And like the whole thing about athletes getting compensated. Yeah, I think the initial reaction of people was, oh, the rich are going to get richer. And that's not what's happened.
You're right.
Like, I think most economists would have told you at the time that, no, this is going to spread talent out more. And I think that's what it's done. I don't know that we have the data to make a conclusion, but I think some pretty good evidence is Indiana, Virginia, and Vanderbilt are headed to the college football playoff. And BYU has the number one or number two player in the country coming in now. I mean, the talent is going to other places than the traditional powers now.
You are so right. When did you think, I never thought we'd arrive at a time where Curt Cignetti, the head coach of Indiana, stays at Indiana because he doesn't want to go to Penn State, Jay, to coach football.
Right. And it's not an indictment on Penn State. It's just that there are other places now that you can win because the dirty secret is now out that the most important thing to winning is players. And now that you can go out and compete for players and put your resources on the field or on the floor, there are more teams that can be competitive. Now, does that go all the way down to James Madison or something? Probably not. But the same players are filtering down to that level that have always been there. But just in football, for example, and I'm not a football guy, I like football, but Alabama can't stockpile players 3 deep anymore because they can't afford to pay their third linebacker what another school can afford to pay them as their top linebacker. So that's spreading talent out more, and that's largely, in my view, a really good thing. And one last thing on this, while people like to complain about, and I think the complaints are phony, but that's up to them. People like to complain about money going to players now, and dogs and cats are living together, and the whole thing's going to hell in a handbasket. It's amazing how nobody's moaning about $200 million in coach buyouts being paid before we get to October 10th, or excuse me, November 10th. Mm-hmm. And they're not worried about Olympic sports or all these other things that they worried about. Oh, women's sports are going to be hurt. Olympic sports, if an athlete gets a nickel, and coach buyouts are approaching national debt levels.
Jay, I'm a Florida Gator, and I would love to just ask you about that team, but there's too much change in the backcourt to really predict anything yet. After that first game, I realized that those guards really like to get their shots blocked, which I don't think is a great quality to have. But they have a 7'9" guy on the team. It's Olivier Rioux, I want to say. Yeah. Pronounce that. Is that a guy to have your eyes, to have people's eyes on your program? Or do you see Golden actually utilizing this guy over the next 3 or 4 years? Because everybody wants to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Todd took him as one. He's a really good young man, but I think he took him as a project. That if this thing works out, it could be really intriguing and really helpful. He's coordinated, and there's a chance that he could play in the future. But if it doesn't work out, what do you lose? It's not that big of a deal. But God, they got a lot of big guys, as you know. Yeah, and he makes them look small. So it's kind of like, I did the opening night or second night of the NBA, did Dallas, San Antonio, and I've seen Victor Wembanyama a fair amount. But God, it's still, you look at him and he's standing next to Derek Lively the second. Derek Lively's like 7'2", and he made him look like he was 6'4".
Wow.
And
That was a 6'8" guy yesterday.
They're so big.
Jay, you're 6'8", right?
They listed me at 6'8". I'm 6'7" and shrinking.
Aren't
We all are, Jay.
There was one of the 6'8" guys on the team they played yesterday who just stood next to him and then stared up to get that perspective. Like, you are a foot taller than Stugotz, I believe, right? So you experience this amongst normal people, but like, that's got to be crazy for Olivier just through in his entire life to be going through that. He said in the post game yesterday, well, just another day, even though he set a world record for the tallest player to play on a court. Like, it's got to be crazy to be that tall every day.
I think what people kind of don't think about or care about much, like, I'm only 6'7". That's tall. Mm-hmm. I don't really know how tall people are that are shorter than me. Like, I'm very good. I'm very poor. Like, I can tell you exactly how big guys are that are taller than me. Mm-hmm. But if they're not as tall, I have no idea. I can't tell the difference between 6'4" and 6'1".
4'5"? Yeah.
But you just made me 5'7". I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I thought you were.
That people don't really think about. And I used to ask players this kind of as a joke to get their responses. Like, where does being tall hit you? Like on the road, and it's beds,
right?
Showers, being able to sit in a chair at a restaurant, and then airplanes. Like, people are always saying to me when I get every time I get an airplane, the flight attendants, they're all very nice, but they're saying, "Watch your head." I'm like, look, I've been taking this head with me everywhere I've been. I'm not going to hit my head on the door.
I've been watching this head forever.
What gets me are when you're at like somebody's house or something, and maybe there's an outdoor party or something, and they've got hanging plants. Like that gets you. Like, you turn around, and all of a sudden you got a face full of moss, and you're in some hanging plant, and you're like, this should be illegal. Like, I'm not putting landmines in for my short friends.
Right.
Like, they got to have some thought.
That would be fun, though.
What would you put in? What kind of landmines would you put in?
For them to trip over and say, well, you're down there. How could you not see that?
There you go.
I used to leave notes for my wife's not the tallest person, and I used to leave a note for her on the door or something, and I didn't realize I was leaving it over her head, and she never saw any of them. So now I just you
were leaving them at your eye level
on the door, and I'm good.
Wait, so these notes were at your eye level, not hers?
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about. I just got not my eye level, but I just put it on the door, and I say, hey, why didn't you do what I asked you, or why didn't you leave the key, or whatever? And she go, what are you talking about? I go, I left a Post-it on the door, and we go look at it, and it's like a foot over her head.
I never thought about showers. What if could you request? You can't request tall people showers at hotels, right?
Not at a hotel. Like, you're getting hit in the stomach by it, and it's it sucks even for a guy my size.
Right.
It sucks. And like the beds, you gotta. So a lot of these guys, especially for Ryu at Florida, most of their locker rooms have showers. Like, you guys would have to stand back 15 feet to get hit by the water. They put them so high for the players. They customize it for taller people. Yeah. And the beds are longer and all that stuff. And now they fly private most of the time, so they don't have to worry about the airplanes. But if they're going to play in the Maui Invitational, some poor kid he's going to be 7 feet tall and have a middle seat on the way out to Maui. It's not the best thing.
What'd you think of? What'd you make of Duke, Jay? I know you did the Dickie V Invitational. Duke was there. You called the games. How's Duke look this year?
They look very good. They're going to be different than last year. Their freshmen are a little more freshman-like than maybe Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple and those guys. So it may take them a little bit longer to hit a stride like those guys did, because they won 35 games last year and went to the Final Four. They're going to play in a tougher ACC, and they've got a way tougher non-conference schedule. But the thing that was Cam Boozer's the real deal. He could very well be the first pick in the draft. He's like Paolo Banchero. But one of the things that impressed me the most, Stu, was they haven't got off to great starts in their two exhibitions and in their game against Texas, and it didn't bother them. Like, in the second half, they were really good. And, so you could say, okay, well, you got to get off to better starts. You can't put yourself in that position. That's fine. But you don't see many young teams that are able to kind of flip that switch and not let a first half bother them. They've got a competitive level and a next play mentality that not a lot of teams have.
You mentioned Cam Boozer, and that's one of Carlos Boozer's twins. And when I first heard of them, they were only talked about as twins. What happened to Caden? Is he okay? Is he good? Is Cam just that much better? Because they usually should be about the same.
They're different. So Caden is like 6'4", which makes him kind of the runt of the family, I guess. But Cam's bigger. And so Caden's a point guard. Cam's like a hybrid 4. But Cam's got a different, he's different. Like he's the real deal. I watched him in practice a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't get over how big he was, like his especially his lower body, the frame of him. And it reminded me, I think at this age, he's actually bigger than Paolo Banchero was. And he's really skilled and really competitive and tough. And then he's become, like, in a short period of time, like more of a vocal leader. You know how it is. You guys see this as much as I do. They're always really talented players, really good players, but there's a level of special that certain players exhibit.
Right.
And I think he's exhibiting that. And like he didn't score in the first half against Texas, and he had 15 points and 13 rebounds by the end of the game. And you're going, okay, if that's when he doesn't play well, like he had 23 rebounds against Tennessee at Tennessee in an exhibition in a packed house. Man, it took me 5 games to get 23 rebounds.
We're going to play a game of Jay or Nay and get you out of here because we know you're busy. Where do you go when like Taylor has a burger place in Chapel Hill for you? Where does Jay Bilas like to go when he's hanging out in Chapel Hill?
We went to Sutton's Pharmacy yesterday for lunch.
Staple.
Which is actually really good. Heavy on the grease, but it was good.
Yeah.
Where do I go in Chapel Hill? I used to go to a restaurant called 411 West a lot.
Good Italian spot.
I really like. And but if I could stay one place, it would not be this lovely Courtyard Marriott. It would be the Carolina Inn.
Oh, I love
the Carolina
that place.
Inn is legit.
Yeah, it's great. Yep.
Not in the ESPN budget?
I'm lucky a roof was in the ESPN budget. I was thinking it was going to be some kind of tube tent I'd have to manufacture outside in the parking lot. I got clipped for $15. I didn't register my car yesterday. You have to use a QR code to register your car. And I had a ticket on my car outside. I'm like, Jesus, it's costing me money to do games. I got to get a new profession.
Well, how about enough with the QR codes? Just give me a fucking ticket. I'll pay you on the way out. How's that sound?
Yeah, and I'm driving, because I live in Charlotte. I'm driving my own car, so I can't just lay it on the rental car.
All right, quick game of Jay or Nay. We'll get you out of here. We appreciate the time, Jay. Bill, let's go ahead, Taylor.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Jay. Charlotte is an underrated city. Jay or Nay?
Oh, Jay. We've been there 33 years. Charlotte's awesome. Yeah. I'm from LA. I wanted to go back there. I had probably a 10-year pity party. Every time my wife would say it was a nice day in Charlotte, I go, every day is like this in LA. Stop it. But yeah, I'm a lifer in Charlotte. It's fantastic.
Are you a Mama Ricotta's guy?
Yeah, we just had that the other night. I had some of the crew, ESPN crew over. Frank Scavelli owns that place, and we've been going there for 33 years now. I actually delivered that stuff to my wife when she was having our first child.
He's just so proud that he has things in common with you. Go ahead, Taylor.
He used to live in Charlotte. The guy that gives unsolicited swing advice on a golf course, Jay or Nay?
Nay. Don't want to hear it. Like, come on, man. I can't fix it right now. I get it. I don't tell Jim Furyk how to swing. I don't want Joe Sixpack telling me how to swing.
Right. How about the guy who says, hey, keep your head down on the golf range?
Or it's all tempo. It's all about tempo.
Yeah, well, Stu was referring to himself there.
Yes.
Okay. He was telling somebody to keep their head down in Tahoe, and I'm like, that's the worst advice ever given on a golf course. Like, it's on the range. And then, but I can give Stu this advice. It's okay for you to clean your clubs.
But that's the least surprising thing all day I've learned.
In 30 years. Like, those grooves need to be cleaned out.
Disgusting.
Go ahead, Taylor.
It's time for the Big Ten to win a national title. Jay or Nay?
Jay, I mean, that's been the narrative for 25 years now. They haven't won one since 2000 when Michigan State won in Indianapolis over Florida. They've been close a bunch and been to the Final Four a bunch and championship games. This could be the year. Like, Michigan's really good, Purdue's really good. Wouldn't shock me, but that is kind of a monkey on their back that it'd be nice to get rid of.
Udonis Haslam still had a big game in that national championship.
Yes.
The guy who tells you just put me down for a par, Jay or nay? When you counted at least 8 shots.
I'm good with that. That's a Jay.
Wow. I am totally good with that.
As long as he puts the score in.
Yes.
For the handicap.
If I'm on the green in regulation, I'm giving myself a par, even if I 3-putt. It's
I'm probably a vanity handicap. I think the overwhelming majority of golfers are. But don't you prefer that over the guys that knock it next to the hole and then decide, you give it to them and they decide they're going to putt and then they 3-jack it and put down the number just so they can keep their handicap up to win a member guest?
Well, if you ever play with Stu J, he's at like 30 feet and he's looking at you like, you're not going to give me this? And it's like...
Well, I would give it to him. If he's going to be one of those guys that decide they're going to walk to the other side and walk it off and get advice from their partner and all that stuff. Like, whenever that happens, I'm like, you better make this. Like, after all this, you better make this.
Thank you. Jay just wants to get to the next hole.
Yeah, let's go. None of us are pros. This is a social event.
Yeah, he just hit his head on the golf cart. Like, damn it, again. Hurry up.
The last Jay or nay. This Duke team isn't hateable, but college basketball is better when Duke is hateable. Jay or nay?
I'll go Jay on that. Like, I'm okay with the Duke hate. Like, I've been part of it. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it. Yeah. I think, I don't know, it was one of those documentaries, I can't remember which one, where Ken Jeong, who the comedian that went to Duke, was talking about the Duke hate, and he says, fine, like, what do you want us to do? Say, I hate what I have become. Like, you kind of embrace it. Like, I don't think I was particularly hateable. I mean, I'm actually popular here in Chapel Hill. They like me, and I think they like me because they think I sucked as a player, and I wasn't worth hating. And I was probably responsible for more Carolina wins over Duke than Michael Jordan was.
Right. Have Tommy Amaker walk in there and see what happens.
Exactly. They would hate him. Hate Johnny.
It's all Leitner's fault, really. For really being
all right. Jay, we appreciate the time as always. I would like to have you on because you're so great at this. Perhaps we'll have you on right before the college football playoff. So you can break down all these teams, their season, to the matchups coming up because you're great at faking it like I am.
Yeah, I mean, football, I could have been a great football commentator because it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to win the line of scrimmage. You keep the ball off the ground. You can't put the ball on the ground in that situation.
The coach up
just
Tom Brady.
Catchphrases.
Yeah, you're done. It's fantastic.
All right, we're going to do it. We'll break down the field with you. The college football playoff in a few months, okay?
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate your time as always, Ben. Enjoy Chapel Hill.
Always.
Stugotz here. It's NBA tip-off week, and FanDuel is your home for live betting. Listen, support the people that support this show, and no one has supported us more than our friends at FanDuel. So even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join because FanDuel has given new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Must be 21 and older and present in select states or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY New York.